Councilors, what are your wishes?
I'll offer a motion to approve those. Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 2.1, a public hearing on special assessments for the 2021-2022 snow, weed removal, and property repairs.
Councilors, this is an annual process that we go through to assess those unpaid fees. If you have any other questions, I can try to answer those. Otherwise, the list was published in the agenda.
Anybody want to speak? Being nobody wants to speak, I'll offer the resolution closing the public hearing and waive the reading establishing the special assessments for 2021-2022 snow and weed removal and property repair charges.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Councilor Mack?
Yes.
Councilor, sorry, I lost the, Christian?
Yes.
Councilor Schultz?
Yes.
Councilor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker.
Yes, that motion does carry. Moving on to item number 3.1, raffles and gambling permit for Church of St. Mary.
I'll offer a motion approving the issuance of lawful gambling permit for the Church of St. Mary to conduct raffles gambling at Church of St. Mary, 417 South Minnesota Street on Friday, February 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 4.1, rezoning of property located at 633 to 653 Haberly Street.
Madam President, members of the City Council, Dave Schnobrick, Community Development Director. The petition for rezoning was submitted by Alan Paler on behalf of S&P Development, LLC. The proposed rezoning would involve current designation for the property of R-4, which is a high-density residence district, and it was be rezoned to R2, which is a single and two-family residence district. So this is a down zoning that is proposed. Total amount of property is 0.77 acres. The owner is proposing to plat the property as 4 lots, and that would allow the location of 2 twin homes on the property. Twin homes are not a permitted use in the R4 zoning district. They are a permitted use in the R2 and the R3 zoning ordinance in our new zoning ordinance that we adopted this past April. The primary land uses permitted in the R4 are apartment buildings, and then with conditional use permits, there are other institutional uses that are permitted. The property was zoned to R4 this past April due to the existence of 6 lots in this half block, and it was that density of lots that necessitated that rezoning. Under the city's old zoning ordinance, property would have been classified as R3, and single-family duplex and twin homes would have been permitted on the property. There is a provision in the development agreement that limits building height on this property to 35 feet. There is no minimum height requirement. Now, pursuant to Minnesota law established by the Minnesota Supreme Court, decisions on rezoning must be based on consideration of 2 main criteria. One is whether the proposed rezoning corrects an error in the original zoning text or map, or secondly, whether the proposed rezoning addresses needs arising from a changing condition, trend, or fact affecting the subject property and surrounding area. The rezoning can only be approved in this particular case if it changes a conditioning or a changing condition, trend, or fact affecting the property and surrounding area. The staff and commission both concurred in reasons for recommending approval of the rezoning. Commission considered this request at their October 27th meeting. Reasons were, number one, the city's comprehensive plan designates the property for medium-density residential land uses, and the rezoning would be consistent with that designation. Two, the rezoning would be compatible with area land uses and zoning. Twin homes are a suitable land use in this location. Three, the subject property has been zoned for residential purposes in the past. Four, approval of the rezoning would be a form of downzoning, as mentioned previously. To a limited degree, it would lessen density, traffic, and provide environmental benefits. And five, currently there is a strong market for twin homes in New Ulm. Townhomes similar to those directly across the street, which was the intended use for the property. They were built in 2018. One of them sold in July of 2018. Two were sold in March of 2020, and one has not sold. It would appear that this type and size of residential unit has not generated the same amount of interest as twin homes. And I might note that Mr. Al Paler was at our planning commission meeting, and he identified the reasons why he was pursuing this particular rezoning. Staff believes that these factors are evidence of a changing condition, trend, or fact. I would note that we did receive one communication on this matter, and that was contained in your agenda packet. That would conclude the staff report.
I do have one question, Dave. He's doing an excellent job developing up there. Is there anything in his master plan? 'Cause he's been in here a lot with, let's rezone this, a variance for this. Does he give any inkling of that the rest is going to be, stay what it is, or I'll be back?
I don't believe that he has any further changes contemplated.
Okay.
In this particular case, this is a change in platting, since he's going from 6 lots to 4 lots, and we'll conduct a public hearing on the plat at your next meeting.
Okay.
I think the other 2 plats that recently have been approved by the city council involved some single-family dwellings and then some more twin homes. So I believe that those are his focus at the present time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do feel this fits the needs of the area and does qualify as a trend that is happening right now. I mean, some might not like them, but it is a need and it's a good use of that space.
And the letter in there stated, from the neighbor that he would like it to match, kind of bookmark the townhomes across the street, to be comparison, but Al Paler, he stated, that he's trying to still sell them yet at this point in time, and people just want the one level. It's proven that they don't want a full basement, main floor, and an upstairs. They just want to be on one level, and it's a product that's been working with
I
them.
didn't have any concerns, so I'll go ahead and offer a motion of Alan Paler on behalf of S&P Development LLC to rezone from R4 to R2, the property legally described as Lot 8 through Lot 13, Block 2, Milford Heights, Second Edition, and instruct the city attorney to prepare an ordinance for this purpose.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? I just want to ask at the zoning, was there any other kind of comments or anything like that?
No
Letter, okay.
No other comments or communication
Okay.
in regards.
No additional discussion. Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 4.2, a variance request for Alan Paler on behalf of s and P Development LLC.
Good evening, Council President John Nisley, planner with the City of New Ulm. I'm not going to go through the whole legal description and property description because this is the exact same property Mr. Schnobrick was just up here talking about. But with the proposal of those two twin homes, Mr. Paler is requesting two separate variances for this property. The first variance request is to reduce the lot widths for Lot 2 to 55.2 feet, Lot 3 to 52.48 feet, and then Lot 4 to 54.8 feet. The minimum lot width in that zoning district would be 60 feet. The second request is to reduce the minimum lot area of Lot 2 to 7,303 square feet, and then Lot 3 to 7,328 square feet. And the minimum lot area up there for the zoning district is 7,500 square feet. The Planning Commission at its October 27th, 2022 meeting unanimously recommended approval of the variance request with no conditions. I'm going to summarize their findings of fact, which is the reasoning behind their approval or recommendation for approval of this variance. And basically, they summarized it by the street configurations in that area. There's curved street configurations as well as a large stormwater pond along County Road 27 there, which tightens the tightens the lot area specifically for this plat that we're discussing right now. They also stated that they are actually going to be reducing the total density of residences in that platted area. So before it would have been 6 lots, now we're going to 4, so there should be less density there. And they also noted that in our own zoning, our old R3 zoning regulations, these proposed lots would actually meet the criteria for both width and total lot area. So that was their justification for granting the variance and recommending approval. I should note that again, these are two separate motions, but there's one resolution approving the variance requests here tonight. That concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Nisley.
Well, I'm going to offer the resolution, waive the reading, recommend approval of variance request of Alan Paler on behalf of s and P Development to reduce the minimum lot width for Lot 2 to 55.2 feet, Lot 3 to 52.48 feet, and Lot 4 to 54.8 feet, Block 1, Milford Heights, 7th edition.
I'll second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. We do have a second
And
piece.
I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading to recommend approval of the variance request by Al Paler on behalf of s and P Development LLC to reduce the minimum lot area for Lot 2 to 7,303 square feet, to Lot 3 to 7,328 square feet, Block 1, Milford Heights, 7th edition.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Nisley. Item number 5.1, appointment to the Human Rights Commission.
I'll offer a motion to approve Deb Loverwood to the Human Rights Commission to fill the unexpired term of Aaron Casola.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Welcome, Deb. Item number 5.2, ordinance number 2022-00.
Determined.
To be determined, fifth series, first consideration regarding the schedule of fees.
Counselors, this is the first reading of the annual fee schedule changes. I'll just point out some of the changes that have been made and an error that I found earlier today. So looking at the liquor license fees, we have the Brewer's Tap Room on sale listed at $300, and that is correct. And then the on sale micro distillery should be $400. And the micro distillery off sale should be $300. So all the off sales should be $300 and the on sales are $400. And then we'll make some changes to the wording just to make sure the licenses, their names agree with what's in the ordinance as well. And then looking at the other changes that have been suggested, the sidewalk, snow removal, and the mowing and weed removal, we have changed those again. We've made them the same, but we are suggesting a graduated fee. So the first offense would be $100 plus the cost of the removal. The second is $200, and the third is $300, and then anything after that third would also be $300 plus the contract cost to remove the weeds or snow. We have suggested removing the dog license completely, and then there's some changes up in community development as well. So we are proposing a change for the interim use permit from $175 to $200 for when we've added an amendment to the comp plan with a fee of $300, a planned unit development fee of $300, and we've changed the conditional use permit from $175 to $200, the plat filing fee from $175 to $200, the rezoning request filing fee from $250 to $300, and then the variance application for an easement from $45 to $50. And then on the parking, the leased parking stalls, depending on the parking stall, would increase from $24 to $26 or $15 to $17 a month. That's it.
I walked through the fees like I usually do, and I usually have 2 or 3, but this year I didn't have any.
I'm going to say nothing's too excessive here.
I have no question.
I was looking through, I can't see it now because it's blurry, but I had a question under the leased parking. It had the price plus tax, but it looked like it went up $2 from before, so I didn't know, but it looked like the price was the same, so I don't know, something to me looked off on
It's
that.
listed weird.
It's
So
listed,
we're proposing the total would go up $2. We have to back into what the tax is, just to leave that at a flat fee rather than having some random cents in there for tax. So
Okay.
I will make that correction to correct those back to
that was the only
whatever-
thing that I
yeah.
saw that was a little off, but, no, yeah.
And we
Any-
are proposing to get rid of the dog license too, the fee for
Yes.
dog license.
We didn't see an uptick this year. There was a small uptick. That's because the trailer park on the south end of town, or Mobile Home Village, required everyone to get a dog license. But other than that, there was no change, and we advertised it at the dog park and other places this year. So it was just easier to take it out.
Try to spread the word. I'll make a motion to conduct the first consideration of ordinance number 2022-TBD, 5th series, amending section 2.99 of the city code of the city of New Ulm relative to the schedule of city fees.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 5.3, League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust Liability Coverage.
This is something we've been doing for quite a few years, so I'm going to go ahead and offer the resolution, waive the reading to not waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability established by Minnesota statute, accepting liability coverage limits of $1,500,000 from LMCIT effective January 1st, 2023, and authorizing the city manager to execute the waiver for and on behalf of the city of New Ulm.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker.
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 5.4, rename section of Boundary Street.
Madam President, City Councilors, item before you today is to rename the section of Boundary Street from CASA 29 to the northern city limits, or kind of the North Broadway area. As part of the Brown County CASA 13 existing Boundary Street project that's due to wrap up here in a couple weeks, we felt, staff felt that it was important to have a consistent naming method for this entire corridor. So it'd be North Highland Avenue all the way from Center Street out to the northern city limits. There is not any address conflicts that will occur because of this, and we will also follow with a right-of-way plat as well for this corridor, so we can verify our right-of-way in that segment. So be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Map 2, or page 2, the map. Are you with me, Joe? All right, you're coming on North Broadway, and then when you'd pick up the KC Road, I see a black dash there. Is that going to be blocked off? See what I mean? That little
Yes.
slight black dash.
Yep, so that section of the existing Casey Road will no longer be there. It'll be a dead-end segment.
Okay, that's what I figured.
And that.
And so where
we
does
may be-
KC start then?
KC would start on the.
The
we'll
new
call it
intersection,
yeah,
so to speak?
The west side of the new intersection. So
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
probably be coming before you once again to figure out, once we have that discussion internally, what to do with those 3 homes that have a KC address, because it's now disconnected from KC Road. So we will be back, I'm guessing, to do something with those homes. But
Well, I can't wait for that road to be done, so I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading, approve the renaming of the section of Boundary Street located between CASA 29 and North Broadway as North Highland Avenue.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz? Yes. Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 5.5, Development Agreement for S&P Development LLC. Mr. Schnobrick.
Okay, so the street address of this property is 648 to 685 Haberly Avenue. The property is generally located north of Beinhorn Street, west of Fender Drive, and south of 7th North Street. And I will put an aerial on the corner here, which hopefully, Steve, can you?
Yep, it's up on the screen. It's up there.
It's up. Yep.
Okay. So at the top is 7th, at the bottom is Beinhorn. Fender is over here. You can see some development has already taken place. So that's the area that the development agreement would apply to. The development agreement covers issues associated with the construction and use of the property for residential purposes. S&P Development, they are the developer. That's a firm that's owned by Al Paler and Mark Schaefer. The plat will have a total of 14 lots, and so we have a copy of that here showing those 14 lots. The property is already zoned R1, and the lots are obviously intended for single-family use. The project will include the construction of a public street and the installation of utility and drainage improvements that eventually will be owned by the city. Construction of the project improvements possibly could yet take place this fall. We'll have to see. So entry into the development agreement will allow the developer to proceed with construction of new residential units. The agreement authorizes the developer to do the installation of utilities and the street improvements themselves, rather than the city having to do that. And the attached development agreement is acceptable to the developer. I would also note that this particular development agreement is almost identical to the one that previously was approved for Milford Heights 5th edition. That would conclude the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Schnobrick. With the Milford Heights 5th edition, did they do their own utilities there, or did we do those?
No utilities have been installed at this
Okay.
point in time. It is their intention to do the utility extensions themselves and the street work.
Okay.
So within the development agreement, the city could do it or they could do it. Both options are available, but they are proposing for both additions to do them themselves.
Dave, what's a likely house gonna cost on that property, those properties? Too many variables?
Too many variables.
Too many variables.
300 to 500 it could be.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to offer the resolution and move its adoption that the City Council of the City of New Ulm, Brown County, Minnesota, does hereby approve the development agreement with s and P Development LLC for the property to be platted Milford Heights, 6th edition.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Do we need to read the specifics on the addresses into the record also, Nicole?
Probably,
Okay.
I guess, as they're written there in the resolution, but.
I'll go back to that here. Let's see.
You pull it down.
I'm trying here.
There you go.
The street address is 648 to 685 Haberly Avenue, and it also has been platted as Milford Heights, 6th edition.
I'm sure that's what Mr. Mack wanted.
Yes.
Yes, okay, for
I was
Haverly
on the
Avenue,
wrong
and
page here,
authorizing
trying
the
to get
city
through the-
manager and finance director to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Any additional discussion with that motion and second? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 5.6, Lutheran Social Services Community Center Senior Dining Rental Rate.
Does the park commissioner want to speak first? Do you want me to speak, Tom?
This is presented by you.
I did notice that. I was waiting for you to get up there.
Tom Schmitz, Park and Recreation Department. President Bedker, councilors, you have before you a proposed action from a recommendation that comes from the Park and Recreation Commission to increase the rental rate 3%, which is option C of the 4 options presented to you in the packet. I'll also note that City Councilor and Park and Recreation Commissioner Christian stated he thought the rate should be higher. A few things I will point out in the action form are that the actual expenses for us to provide the kitchen and dining room are about $92 a day. Back in 2014, almost a decade ago, 8 years ago, the rate was $86.50 a day. Then the City Council lowered the rate down. It has not been increased in quite a number of years, as you see in the packet. Almost 50% of the meals prepared here at our New Ulm Community Center are delivered to residents of other cities. And my understanding is that those other cities do not support Lutheran Social Services for this service. There's a few items there. Items 6, 7, 8, and 9 talk about Lutheran Social Services, the corporation. And you have the budgetary numbers in the packet also. That's all I wanted to point out.
Thank you, Mr. Schmitz.
One comment that was made at the meeting, and it is true that in the past, Park and Rec did want to increase slowly to 3% a year, and when it came to council, our bleeding hearts, we tabled it. No, we shouldn't really raise the rate. But this year, I think everybody's feeling the pain. You mean, our work session, we're going to ask these people, what are you doing with the money? I myself would like to see it go higher than the 3%. I'll back it because the Park and Rec, that's what they decided on. But in my eyes, it actually should be higher.
Do we have anybody here from this group tonight?
Yes, we do.
Do they have anything they'd like to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
Would you like to come?
some concern about the possibility of severe financial hardship way back when we cut it in half or something. But I'd like to see what you folks have to say now.
And if you can just state your name for the record here.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm Sarah Anderson. I'm with Lutheran Social Service. I'm the regional manager for our LSS Meals program for Brown County and have been since 2007 when we were awarded the contract from the Minnesota River Area Agency on Aging. We provide this service in all of Brown County and the surrounding Region 9 area, Region 8, Region 6E area for the Minnesota River Area Agency on Aging. We receive partial government funding for this program, about a third of the cost of the meal. The full cost of the meal is $8.75. So what we receive from the Area Agency on Aging is only about a third to cover that cost. Because the meals are funded in part through the Federal Older Americans Act, we are not allowed to have a set charge for anybody 60 and older. It is a free will contribution. There is no set charge if you are 60 and older. Our current suggested donation is $5 a meal, but again, it's completely free will. We do not deny anybody a meal if they cannot contribute towards the cost of their meals, and we do not receive anywhere near $5 per person. The average actual contribution is about $4 a meal, so we're losing $1 for every meal we provide. So it very much is, Lutheran Social Service is a statewide nonprofit charity. Just regarding the other communities, so here in New Ulm at the community center, we do prepare the senior dining and Meals on Wheels for Comfrey, Sleepy Eye, Springfield, and St. James. So those communities provide in turn in-kind space in their communities to LSS to operate the program for their communities. So in Sleepy Eye, we operate out of Ross Park Apartments. We're not charged to be there providing meals to residents in the building, nor to operate Meals on Wheels out of their dining room to their outside of that apartment building. In Springfield, we're operating out of St. John's Lutheran Church, and we are not charged to be there either. We actually are charged by the city of St. James to be in their community building. At Comfrey, we operate out of their community center, and we are not charged to be there. So out of the 5 communities, 4 of them are providing in-kind space for us to operate out of there. The city council has been very generous. We have a beautiful space in the community center. The city does repair and replace the equipment. I did take the 3% increase back to my leadership for consideration. I will say, just like any other pocketbook issues, so our suggested donation we request from the diners has not increased since 2019. It has been $5 for the past, I think, going on 4 years now. What used to cost $1,500 a week in groceries is now costing $2,000 a week. I was stumping for United Way today in downtown New Ulm, and we all know the leadership with that organization has changed a couple times in the past year, so the giving to United Way has gone down, so our allocation has gone down. But as I said, I did take the 3% recommendation back to my leadership, and they were okay with that increase for this year. So if there's, I think it's $1.53 a day. That would be that 3% increase.
Thank you. So maybe Dave, you can take me back. Why did we go from $86 in 2014 to $52.53?
That was before my time on the city council.
Okay, less?
I remember a very heartful discussion back then, and it was about how the longer we can keep people in their homes and with somebody checking on them and bringing a meal to them, we all save money. But I do specifically remember agreeing to that lower price on condition that the other cities would be asked for funding as well. And what I read is that hasn't happened. And that kind of bothers me, because that was one of the reasons we cut it drastically, because we want to support the program. We know how important it is. A lot of community volunteers help make this program work. And is there a reason that we haven't done that? Is there any plans to do that?
Again, the other cities already contribute to LSS in the in-kind
In the
space.
in-kind
Yeah.
space, all right.
The
But-
space,
This space.
just the space, though.
Well, that's utilities. I mean,
Right.
we're operating refrigerators in Ross Park Apartments. They're going 365 days a year there as well. Same at St. John's Lutheran. So same in Comfrey at the community center. So the
What-
fee we kind of see as paying for what it costs us to provide that service to the other communities.
Right, maybe this question was asked at the Park and Rec, maybe not. Has Brown County, since this service is Brown County, ever been asked?
The county itself,
Right, Brown County
The county.
taxpayers.
no. Well, not from LSS, no. I don't know if the Area Agency on Aging does. They are their own nonprofit entity now. They used to be an entity of the Regional Development Corporation, Region 9 out of Mankato, but they are their own nonprofit now. So, at one point, I saw in my property tax statement a certain amount going to the, Regional Development Corporation. I don't know if some of that filtered down to them or not. But as far as direct support from Brown County, no.
Would Lutheran Social Services be open to sharing what they pay for some of the other spaces in similar communities? Because, I mean, the fact is, we do have these actual expenses. I wouldn't, I am looking at this and just based on what the Park and Rec's, recommendation was, I would probably keep it like this, but this is something that really needs to be addressed moving forward, because we cannot do this for one organization and not for everyone. That's my thought on it. I know others may have different thoughts. But
I was kind of thinking.
I just really want to know what other communities pay.
Where we operate kitchens where we're preparing the food and not just serving it, we do, Wyndham, for example, it's more on a per plate or per meal basis. So it's not exactly apples to apples.
Right.
Same in Mankato, we pay our per meal rate to Gus Johnson Plaza. City of Hutchinson, we're in Evergreen Apartments. So we do pay where we're actually producing the food. It's just, in most of those cases, it's on a per meal basis and not a per day kind of.
Thank you.
Just to chime in a little bit, back in 2014, when this was decided, when I was early on in the council, it was kind of a consensus that we wanted to make it affordable, yet a benefit for seniors, as an aspect. We do a lot for our children under 18 years old, but to support our seniors that have contributed and paid taxes within our community, after they're 60 years old, and the fact, try to keep them in their home, and that there's a lot of volunteers within our community that they go out, that's their job every day, and they want to deliver and help out these people. But I would support the 3%. I don't want to go drastic, but we slashed it that time.
What Counselor stated, as far as maybe even a little bit additional to that, we have to start recovering some of our costs. We can't keep losing the funds. Do you have a amount in mind?
I'm going to go with the Park and Rec. I specifically asked them, and I stated at that meeting, I think it should be more, but they voted on the 3%. So I'm going to authorize an adjustment for the daily rental of the community center kitchen and cafeteria for Lutheran Social Services in relation to their senior dining program to Item C, $52.53, and the Park and Rec Commission, their recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? I would like to know when this comes up again and if it goes through, this just specifically comes through Park and Rec, Tom? Yes. This would come through Park and Rec? Okay. So, I mean, we'll have an opportunity to kind of, share some thoughts with that moving forward, but any comments, Tom?
This is an annual agreement, so Park and Rec Commission will have an opportunity next year to review it. I do also want to point out item number 9, in relationship to Counselor Mack's comments. This is not affecting our seniors' pocketbooks.
Right.
As is. Thank you.
No, I agree. Thank you. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Thank you.
Thank you for the good.
Yes, thank you. Item number 5.7, Park and Recreation donations.
Again, the Park Department had a excellent month for donations. I'm going to offer the resolution, waive the reading, accepting donations offered to the City of Nome through the Park and Rec Department as outlined. Our Herman Heights Paver Stones, $200 honoring Women's Literary Club from Karen Shii, $200 honoring Mayor Robert and Cheryl Boisman from Robert and Cheryl Boisman. Herman Heights Monument Restoration, $100 from Francel Liebel. German Park Veterans Square Vietnam Memorial, $5,000 from James and Janice Seifert. German Park Veterans Square Bench, $1,500 initial payment honoring Bill Wilford and Marlis Wilford. German Park Paver Stone, $200 honoring Dell and Lenora Burgess from Lisa Besmer. And the Civic Center Scoreboard, $4,250 from the Napa Star Group, Tony and Shannon Golden, for a total of $11,453 in cash.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 5.8, Fire Department donation from Wheelborg Chevrolet.
I'll take the easy one. I'll make the motion of the resolution, waive the reading to accept the $500 donation from Wheelborg Chevrolet.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 6.1, a report of claims paid.
I'll offer a motion to accept a list of claims paid in the amount of $3,557,165.89.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry with no additional business. This meeting is adjourned. We will be moving into a work session shortly.